Alright fellas, here we're back on Pokemon Masters, and today we're going to be taking a re-look, I guess you could say, at Palentines Elesa and Togetic. Obviously one of the more renowned units of 2023, with how extremely exceptionally great she was on release. No, I'm kidding, she was... I don't know why they did to her what they did. They gave her Metronome and then Fly as the main form of damage, and then only super effective multipliers. Yeah, whatever. We looked at this character a little bit today, and honestly got some pretty good footage, really, surprisingly, right? But going into her details, Fly, again, is her main form of damage. It's a 2-turn move, so it's got, obviously, all of the penalties you would think about. But she does also have Super Countdown, meaning if the Fly is super effective, then you do get Sync Countdown, so you don't screw up your Sync Countdown and whatnot, right? And obviously she is super powered, so you do want to be doing super effective damage, meaning she is now locked to, 1 out of the 17 types in terms of doing damage, because obviously normal type, but whatever, so sure. Then strengthening status, increasing physical and special moves next whenever you use a status move. That is obviously to, counteract, or not counteract, but go with Metronome here, because Metronome can hit for one of a multitude of different types, or moves rather, and yeah. Is it great? No, not really. You'll see why, but we make we make a little bit of use out of it, I guess. Looking at the grid, she's also got Sharp Entry 1 here, which goes pretty well with her self-sufficiency, meaning she's already got the ability to max crit with Dire Hit Plus, as well as her trigger move Delivering Delight, which raises her attack and special attack by 3. But obviously, if you want to fit that all in 3 turns, bringing a support that buffs offenses or crit, or both, or picking up Sharp Entry 1 on the grid is not a bad idea. Especially because it's relatively affordable, being next to a Sync node, and Double Down 5, which is her best nuking multiplier. And super preparation here. She's also got Gloating Boost 9, Sync Quickening 3, Slippery Slope. Those are mostly used for Legendary Gauntlets and whatnot. Super Interference, Metronome Super Duper Effective 5, Metronome Super Countdown 9, and then Fortuitous 9 on Metronome, meaning you can get a bunch of random stats, some Sync Countdown, and some pretty good damage if you land a super effective move with Metronome. If that sounds unlikely, that's quite literally because it is. So, figure out how that one works. Whatever, let's go ahead, hop into some battles with Palentines Elesa, and show just how decent she's aged over the past year, I guess you could say. Here is the first setup with just her big nuke, right, like not best partners, but like good partners, all that type of stuff. We pretty much just use Skyla here in order to obviously apply Flying Zone and Flinching, and then we use Colors here to try and max out defensive debuffs. We obviously max out Elisa's stats just by herself, which isn't too big of an issue. Fun part about this is that you also can use Elesa as a fly tank in a sense, because obviously she uses fly, it can make enemies, miss their moves. It can, if you do grit her for Slippery Slope 9, which raises evasion whenever a move misses the user, then you can also build for partial evasion tanking for turns that you may obviously not have the best of luck in, landing your flies in the right moments and whatnot. Here's our nuke, first right off the rip with -4, -2 physical defense, not too bad. What was 15, 20,000. I didn't read it, but whatever. It's definitely not a substantial nuke, but I mean, it's going to clear any flying weak stage without really any problem. So I wouldn't really complain all that much. I should have gone for Air Cutter there with Skyla, because obviously no quarter flies tend to do a good chunk of damage. But again, as I said, you can fly tank with, the energy ball there and whatnot. Not too bad of an idea. We KO with the fly about 8,400 damage a pop on -4 defenses, I think, on the middle. So, I mean, it's not bad damage, right? But it's definitely not going to do anything off type, because obviously all of our multipliers are super effective, other than the fact they gave her Crit Strike 2. That's a lucky skill, Crit Strike 2, so you can potentially do a little bit of non-on type damage with fly, but it's not going to be anything substantial, not at all. I'm just being honest with you. Elesa is pretty much hyper-locked to doing on-type damage, being fly and whatnot, right? Obviously, you could also play around with Metronome, try and get some super effective damage off of that, but do consider you are quite literally dealing with a 1 out of 19 chance, well, 1 out of 18 chance, but then there's Fissure, which I think is a 1% chance, so have fun with that, to actually land the move that is of the enemy's weakness type, right? You have to get pretty lucky. Like if you're fighting a fighting weak stage, you want to land Focus Blast. If you're fighting a grass weak stage, you want to land Grass Whip, Power Whip. all that stuff. It's not really the easiest thing to do, but whatever. Either way, there was the battle versus Sydney with the quote-unquote juiced setup. I could have run her with like Special Costume Steven instead of Colress, but I just opted not to. Let's go ahead and give her a bit of a more free-to-play setup and work around with that. Alright, here is a setup for pretty much full free-to-play partners. Well, literally full free-to-play partners. Got Brawly and Skyla. Skyla's just here for, defensive support. And then Brawly's here for Rock Smash, DPS. Not DPS, defensive debuffing, and potions as well, I guess. We did grid at least a little bit differently here with Super Preparation on the Trina move, as well as Sharp Entry 1, so we can max out all of her offensive stats in the 3 turns, which of course again is why having Sharp Entry 1 in that grid location is not too bad for any flying weak stage you're going to be facing. Again, if you really just need a flying type DPS to cover flying stages, you could go for Palentines Elesa, but there's a very glaring flaw with that, and it's the fact that Summer Eliza exists and is just 10 times better on type and 10 times better off type. Just being completely honest. I like Palentines Elesa. Again, Elisa's my favorite character. There's 15,000 damage on the nuke, by the way, without Flying Zone. I like Palentines Elesa, and I like Elesa a lot, but I can't say that she's going to be doing anything better than the, like, 420 physical attack, Giga Impact, flying type Giga Impact of Summer Eliza with, like, super effective next and whatnot, like, consistent super effective next. So, yeah. If I were to change Palentines Elesa and how she functioned, I would simply make it so that all of her metronomes would do random moves of whatever the enemy's weakness type is. Like, if they're fighting weak, you could do Vacuum Wave or Sphere. We could also do, like, Focus Blast, Close Combat, that type of stuff, right? I feel like that would have made this a little bit better. It would have still been really inconsistent. Like, you could try all you want on, like, fighting weak stages, and you could land, again, the low power moves, Aura Sphere, Vacuum Wave, whatever other, Karate Chop, or whatever that's, all that type of stuff. It still wouldn't have made, like, her overpowered or anything, but it would have made her definitely a lot better. But whatever. That's just how it is. They could have done Buddy Metronome or whatever, but hey, no. Let's just make her good against flying weak stages only, and even then, she's kind of mediocre compared to what we're going to release in, like, 4 months. Literally, she got replaced instantly with Summer Eliza. And she was even better than fucking Sing to Suit Ethan, who released literally half a year earlier. I'm not mad, you're mad. Whatever. Let's go ahead and go on to the final stadium battle, where we do some metronome shit. Alright, here we are versus Fighting with Glacia, and if this looks like a juice setup, you'd be goddamn right, because it is 100% a juice setup. But it's what you're going to need in order to actually make this character work with the diversity of moves that she can actually function with. You're going to need some way to apply like 3 or 4 different boosting effects at once if you really want Elesa to be able to start ramping up damage with Metronome. You could also go with like Neo Champion Nate and apply obviously the Unova Circle, which will apply pretty much a buff to all of your physical attacks. That's not a bad idea as well. But we also got Rosie here with the Master Passive, who can work relatively well with that. So yeah, and also help to buff Elisa's stats, because I did pick up the half stat parameter on this. This is actually the first battle I did. I did the other 2 after, because I figured this one would be the hardest, so I get it out of the way first. But obviously we have Cygnus Azarola here to apply Grassy Terrain and Sun in case we land Fire Blast or Power Whip. And then we got Rosa here with the Fighting and Psychic rebuff in case we land Focus Blast or Psychic. I don't even know if we landed any of those in this battle, if I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not even too sure on that one. Obviously, Grassy Terrain and Sun last for like 2.5 seconds because we're using a shitload of buddy moves, which have like the half-hour-long animation. And as you can probably tell, more towards the end of these battles, Rosa herself just starts doing more damage than Elesa does. Like, because we're fighting a fighting weak stage, obviously, it makes sense. But even you can see her psychic damage. She's doing like 1,000 damage towards the end with like her psychic type Relic Song of Wonder, which is doing, I mean, probably not comparable to a single target metronome, but like, it's sad. It's sad that we're having to like go down this far on like the damage totem pole or whatever, right? It's really just saddening to see. Go ahead and get Racer Roll's nuke so we can get that Grassy Terrain back up and hope that we land like a Power Whip or something. Or again, just any of the 3 moves now that we can mess around with. Bullet Seed for actual damage. I'm not kidding. I'm pretty sure Bullet Seed ends up actually doing more damage, but that's also, +7, right? This is just so sad. There's the Drill Peck, 5,600 damage to use that +3 physical moves next. We actually have just in the back pocket right now. We go for the, look at this Relic Song of Wonder. 2,000 damage AoE from a support unit that's not even using it to do damage. She's using it to buff our physical and special moves next, crit, and random stats, and apply sleep, I guess. Yeah, if you want to go for metronome DPS, go for it. But you're gonna need obviously a lot of ramping, like what I gave Elesa here. Definitely, New Champion Rosa is the best support, obviously for her, but Rosa is just a great support in general. But the physical moves and special moves next, pretty much another extra one per turn is going to help out with the physical moves and special moves next that Elesa gets from obviously using a status move being metronome, right? So pretty much every move is going to be +2 physical moves or special moves next instead of +1, which of course if you obviously want to stack that up to +4, +6, depending on how your luck goes, you can get pretty lucky, right? But whatever. There's the final battle in the stadium. Let's go ahead and do a solo against Tapu Bulu. Not actually too bad with solo either. Elesa solo is actually pretty easy, I would say, versus Tapu Bulu. So let's go ahead and go over to that. Alright, here's the solo for Palentines Elesa versus Tapu Bulu. This solo is not too bad. I got it from... someone on like... I don't have it loaded up on my computer. I could probably find it if I wanted to right now. I'm not even logged in. Never mind. Fuck that. I'll try to remember to credit the video that I used down in the comments below. But it was on the original doc for all the Legendary Arena solos. It was the 5 out of 5 maximum Elesa run, which obviously there's very minimal difference besides a few stats between 3 out of 5 and 5 out of 5 Elesa, so there's really no problem to deal with there. The big thing you have to do with here is you got to fly dodge for the first phase for the most part to get +2, +3, maybe even +4 evasion, so you can then start dodging the attacks towards the rest of the battle, right? That's why I kind of wait here and try and queue up this fly before they queue up their move, but it didn't work because sometimes Tapu Bulu will queue up something like a Zen Headbutt or whatever towards the end there, but he just didn't, and we KO'd him. And he lands a crit seed bomb. So I figured the run was probably about dead here, but we actually ended up winning it. It wasn't too bad. There's a lot of different ways the RNG in this can go. It's just a matter of if you can land some good accordingly timed flies, or if you can obviously just... That sludge bomb was really helpful, by the way. Or if you can land some evasions here. Get some evasion here with her, slippery slope and whatnot. Which is definitely applying quite a few buffs, for sure. And there we go, as you can see. Yeah, we got another dodge there. You can either get very lucky with the dodge, or you can actually play, like, critically. I got the latter, I guess. Or not the latter, I got the former. So there we go. At this point, you definitely don't want to go for fly. Because it was an accident. But I went ahead and went for fly anyway. You do want to go for metronome here. Like I did right here, go for metronome. I have 2 flies left over. I think with a little bit better luck, these flies would have actually KO'd Tapu Bulu, but this is what you have to worry about. You have to worry about that wood hammer, obviously. Thankfully, we got the dodge, because otherwise we would have been dead. Do a crap load of damage there with that fly, pretty much half HP, and then drop back down another fly, and it just barely doesn't KO. But thankfully, land that Fire Blast. Goodbye, Tapu Bulu. Very, very good stuff. We did also grid Elesa here for Precision Pals. Or, no, not Precision Pals. Whatever it's called. Precision, I think, is actually just what it's called. Where she gets accuracy buffs on her Trina move, right? So we have +2 accuracy to combat the evasion on the Tapu Bulu towards the end, as well as combat accuracy like Focus Blast and Fire Blast, so we can land those far more often. So, hey, she's got some tools to solo Tapu Bulu. Pretty sure she can solo Latios. And Entei? I don't know. Either way, there's the one versus Tapu Bulu. I'm not doing the other ones. Probably too hard. Whatever. That's my review for Palentines Elesa and Togetic. I guess a year later. I wouldn't say she's increased in overall value or overall strength too much. She's gained supports like, Neo Champion Rosa and Neo Champion Nate with his enabling, but still have literally every other physical Univin character. I wouldn't say she's one of the tops that are on people's mind, like over Emmett or Cygnus Hilda or... other regular Nate, I guess. Whatever, either way. There you are. There it is. I'd rather use regular Elesa over her off-typing any day of the week. Probably because of better partners too, but whatever. I'll see you later. Hope you all enjoy. Let me know what you think about Palentines Elesa down in the comments below. I still like her. Still a favorite character and whatnot, but I can happily be disappointed that my favorite character got my favorite type and got kind of screwed. Alright? I could be a little bit upset about that, but oh well. Can't complain too much, I guess. See you later. I hope you all enjoyed.